Good afternoon, everyone. Now is the time for the Legal and Finance Committee. It is April 1st, 12:30 p.m. We are at the City Hall. And it's not an April Fool's joke. We are here. Thank everybody for not coming. We could start with a roll call and determination of quorum, please. Here. Chad, are you here?
I'm sorry, I can't hear anything
Okay.
other than Becky.
She has to speak into a mic. Did he hear it? She needs to speak into a mic.
Lehman. Nordstrom. Lewis.
Here.
Drew. Drury.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Now if we could move on to the adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Drew, second by Lehman. All in favor? Do we need roll call on that also? Okay. Roll call vote for approval on adoption agenda. Here, yes.
Drew.
Okay, all right. Yes.
Lehman.
Aye.
Nordstrom.
Yes.
Lewis.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. We have the agenda approved. Next, we will move on to general public comment. It's time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. I do not see any public comment, so we will close public comment. If we could go now on to consent items, which are number 1 through 14. Would any of the council members like to remove any of the items 1 through 14?
Madam Chair, item 12, please.
Item 12, and I would like to remove item 14. Are there any others? If not, I would be open to a motion to approve items 1 through 13 with the exception of 12.
14.
14, sorry, 14 with the, okay.
Okay.
Motion by Nordstrom, second by Drew. And if we could go to the roll call vote, please.
Drury.
Yes.
Drew.
Aye.
Nordstrom.
Aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. There is no public comment on any of those items. I forgot to say in public comment, it was closed. We will now go on to item 12, approve the Rapid City year-end 2019 population estimate, and we will recognize Darla Drew.
Thank you. I think this question is for Ken Young. Ken, so I was looking through how we come to this determination, and I wanted to bring it up today because we have fewer people here, and we can just go through this quickly. I won't bring it up again at council unless I have some kind of issue with it. But you use the building data, basically some demonstration, demolition data and old census data, and the old census is from 2010, and here we are at 2019, but this is what we need to use. Is that correct? Could you tell me where we were at 2010 and how you arrived at the figure, which I saw as 77,185?
Yeah, so the 2010 census figures make a foundation, the base number that we build from. And so we adjust that every year based on our building data from year to year. So there will be some kind of a correction when the new census comes out with their numbers. But until we get some correction from the new census, we just build up from that base number from the 2010 census. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that, Patsy?
Oh, thank you, Patsy.
Patsy Horton, Long Range Planning. I just want to add, we do it then with this particular method so that if we ever need to challenge a census number that comes out, we have that data already established.
Okay, that's a good reason to have that. Patsy, what else might that change for us in long-range planning? If you're looking at these numbers, you know, it's very important to us as to, you know, how we look at how we're going to develop the city after these very trying times that we're going through. But, you know, how do we use these numbers?
This is a requirement based on our existing ordinance. It identifies whether we have allowable alcoholic beverage licenses available.
Oh, and that's kind of it, or?
Well, and we use it for trend purposes as well.
Okay, and also for long-range planning, I would guess, as well. Okay.
A lot of the federal grants will be based on our population numbers.
And does this take into any of the change that we might see, once again, framing it in the position that we're in right now with the COVID-19? Does this change, has this taken into any of the changes at the base, or is that part of this population, or?
Well, this figure is done at the end or as of the end of 2019.
Okay.
So anything that's happened since then would not be reflected in this number. And the census will come out and offer us corrections, or we will assist in correcting their numbers. We'll come up with a final number based on that. But anything that happened up through December 31st of 2019 would be reflected in that number.
Do you use this number when working with our developers? Because I know there's such a housing shortage here. Is this one of the ways that we project how many homes we'll be needing? And, you know, I mean, I think that's a pretty healthy number. So I'm kind of surprised to see that. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So that's what you use when you're working with the developers?
It's used in a lot of different areas, but that would be one, definitely.
Okay. I yield.
Thank you. I'm looking for a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Nordstrom and a second by Lehman. If we go for a roll call vote, please.
Drury,
Aye.
Drew,
Aye.
Nordstrom,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and the motion carries. Next, we will go on to item number 14. Approve resolution number 2020-015, a resolution to approve TID number 68, project plan amendment number 1 to reallocate project plan costs for the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter, Government Lot 1 and Track C of Big Sky subdivision, and the dedicated right-of-way for Homestead Street, lying adjacent to Track C of Big Sky subdivision, located at the eastern terminus of Homestead Street. Could Patsy Horton, there was a lot attached to the agenda on this item. Could you simplify it for us, please?
Similar to when a developer comes forward and reallocates costs based on existing expenditures, the city now has an opportunity to do that with the costs that were involved in this particular district. We went through and entered into an agreement with the previous developer. He's been repaid. Now it's the city's turn. The city paid for installation of a 16-inch water main, as well as some property acquisition, because the development didn't move forward as quickly as anticipated back in 2008. So with this request, we're also requesting authorization of property acquisition. Generally, that has to be done before the TIF application is submitted. So therefore, we're specifically requesting that council authorize the property acquisition so that the enterprise funds can be reimbursed for the full expenditures for this particular water extension. This 16-inch water main is part of the, or was part of the extension for water getting out to the airport. So.
And do we typically not do property acquisitions in tax increment districts?
We do. Our policy currently specifies that if you're going to include that in an application, it has to have approval by council before the application is submitted.
Okay. I yield. Does anyone else have any?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question for Patsy, or just memory recall for me. I'm looking at the map that has the grading and water main and drainage storm sewer. It runs over to, the blue line is the water line that runs over to Meadow Ridge. That is part of the extension going out to the airport, am I
Correct.
correct? And then help me recall something else associated with this TID. Am I looking at two different TIDs here?
No,
No, I didn't think so.
it was a joint project with the developer and the city.
Thank you. And then the other clarification I need is, or like to recall, help me on the memory jog, is that there is some road issue or something that was associated with this, next to this property, basically north of Meadow Ridge. Am I understanding that clear? Did you get all that question?
So the hatched area in the map that will be shown here shortly is the developer's responsibility. They did all of the work inside that hatched area.
Okay.
The city did the extension of the water main from the hatched area east to Reservoir Road. That was done within an easement and is also part of that 16-inch water main.
Yeah, that's the map I'm looking at, yeah. Thank you, Patsy. I just wanted to make sure everybody's got to see this. The blue is the water line, the green is the sewer line, and the hashed marks are the grading.
Correct.
And my question was on the east edge of this, where this water line connects with Meadow Ridge.
So there's one other piece of work that was constructed by the developer. They did outside, in this area here, they constructed that portion of Homestead Street for the school district.
Oh, yes, yes. It's a nice project, it's coming along real well. Yep, this will be very helpful for the residents once that road gets continued through.
It was completed a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And the blue portion of the road outside that hatched area, the developer has now come forward with the final plat. That was done in December of 2019. So as part of that, they will construct the rest of that road.
It's looking real good. Thank you. I yield.
Are there any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion. We have a motion to approve by Nordstrom and a second by Lehman, and we will go to a roll call vote, please.
Drury,
Aye.
Drew. Aye. Nordstrom,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go to non-consent items and see no public comment from the public on non-consent items 15 and 16. We will close public comment, and we will go to finance. Second reading and recommendation of ordinance number 6402 regarding supplemental appropriation 2 for 2020. Ms. Sumption?
Approve.
Okay, move to approve by Nordstrom.
Second?
Second by Drew. All in favor? Take
Aye.
the roll call vote.
Pet habit.
Drury,
Aye.
Drew,
Aye.
Nordstrom,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Motion
Okay.
passes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next is community development, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6384, an ordinance to add a pre-submittal meeting to the requirements for the development engineering plans by amending section 16.08070 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. This is continued from the February 12th, 2020 Legal and Finance meeting. If no one else has comment, I would like to ask Mr. Tech to come forward and visit with us about this. Mr. Tech.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you recall, at the original meeting that this appeared at, there were some folks that showed up that had some concerns. The language was changed. We met with those people. Everyone's fully on board with this, so it's ready to move forward.
Well, I applaud you going back and working with people and making sure everybody can work together, and that's what we're here for. Are there any other comments?
I have a question.
Okay.
So, once again, Dale, just so you can explain a little bit about this to me, the ordinance with this pre-meeting will actually speed up the process for developers and people that are looking to work.
Absolutely. It will save not only time but money for the developers, as well as it'll make the reviews much more efficient, so it'll be a better use of city staff time as well. So it's truly a win-win agreement.
I think it is too, and I'm really glad you guys were able to work this out, because I think it's really important that a lot of these things are worked out before they come to council, and then we just have to send them back for review. So this is really a great step. Thank you.
Indeed.
I yield.
The chair recognizes Mr. Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question or a comment for Mr. Tech, please?
Certainly.
Dale, you folks got together and came up with a good resolution on this, so I applaud everybody that participated in this effort, all the way from staff to the developers and the people of concern on this issue. And originally, I thought everything was okay with the appeal process, but this new language that's in the new ordinance will clarify it for everybody. So, again, thanks for everything.
All right, I'm looking for a motion on item number 16.
Move to approve?
We have a motion to approve by Lehman and a second by Nordstrom. And if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Drury,
Aye.
Drew,
Aye.
Nordstrom,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. We do have a city council meeting Monday night. If you would like to tune in.
Is that going to be here, Madam Chair?
Yes, it's here, and it will be streamed, so everyone can safely watch it from home. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Another
Oh,
question
go
about
ahead.
Monday night. Will we be taking public comment, and how will that look? Can anybody help me with that?
We'll go to Pauline Sumption.
Jim Gilbert has been putting a form together for public meetings going forward. We didn't have it done in time for the committee meetings this week. He's getting feedback from some of the department directors as well as the mayor's office group, but that will actually be attached to the agenda so people can put their information in there. It gets submitted, and then it'll be attached to the agenda.
And there will probably be some deadlines as to when they
There-
can submit those?
There will be, I believe it's noon of the day of the meeting for council meetings. I'm not sure what the deadline was going to be for the committee meetings, because obviously that's too short to get them attached for a 12:30 meeting. But that will allow time, hopefully, for the council members to read them on your own, and I don't have to read them to you.
Right, so there will be a deadline when to submit them, a form to submit them on, and I'm sure they will be regulated by length.
Correct. There's a character limitation as far as what the comment is. It requires your name, address, what type of comment, if it's general or if it's item specific, what number it's for, and then your comments. I believe, did you settle on 950 characters?
Okay. And
Roughly.
no anonymous, are we taking anonymous?
No, we're not going to be doing any more anonymous ones. Again, the name is required. I'm sure they can fill it in as anonymous, but we will not be attaching those. The only reason why I did that for these last two meetings is because of the nature of what the meetings were surrounding, and a lot of them were fearful that it would have repercussions on their employment, and so did not want to have names shared.
Okay, good information to share, so jump online and it'll walk you right through the form if you'd like to submit comments. Being nothing else, now I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Nordstrom moves, Drew seconds. Roll call vote to adjourn.
Drury,
Aye.
Drew,
Aye.
Nordstrom,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Motion carries.